Hey guys, today we're going to install games on our Linux system. This guide is for ZorinOS, but it should work on Ubuntu, Linux Mint, elementaryOS and other Ubuntu or Debian-based distributions. The first step is to download Wine. Please follow me, and all you need to do here is copy-paste commands into the terminal. Wine is now installed. Wine will help us run Windows apps on our Linux OS. The next step is to install Winetricks. Winetricks lets us configure Wine and install dependencies easily. Follow me. All good. Winetricks is now installed as well. Let's use Winetricks to install things like Visual C++, DirectX and .NET. Enter the following command. It's kinda long, but don't be scared. All it's doing is telling Winetricks to install all these software like D3, DX9, .NET, VC Run and more. Installation wizards will open. You have to click install on all of them. It's a long process, so bear with me. And we're good. Now let's install Lutris. Lutris will help us run our games with latest patches easily. It's like Steam, but for games that are manually added. Done. Lutris is now installed as well. It'll help us run different versions of Wine for each game. Different versions of Wine come with different patches, like for gaming or applications. The most popular Wine version is Proton, which is made by Valve, and it lets us play Windows games through Wine with ease. All I'm doing here is installing different versions of Wine. GE-Proton is very important. It'll run most of our games. The rest that I'm installing are only for fallback. In case the GE-Proton doesn't work, we use other versions like Fschack, Lutris or simply the latest Lutris Wine. Now we'll install Gamemode. Gamemode can help us run our games with maximum performance and help with compatibility. All you need to do to install Gamemode is follow the instructions and copy-paste the commands. There's one thing left before we start playing our games, and that is Fsync. Fsync is a kernel-level feature that can help run our games smoothly. Without it, some games might feel slow and laggy, so we definitely have to fix that. Unfortunately, sometimes our default kernel doesn't come with Fsync ability, so we have to install a custom kernel to fix this problem. I will install Xanmod kernel. The kernel can improve the performance of your PC, and may make your games run faster. Installing it is easy as well. All you need to do is copy-paste commands into the terminal. After installing, we need to reboot, and now we'll have a kernel with extra performance and Fsync enabled for our games, so we can play them with maximum optimization. Great. With that out of the way, let's add our games manually. Select Wine as runner since we're going to run a Windows game. Next, add the path to the game.exe file that you have. You can click on Browse and add it that way. Leave all of the other fields as is. Next, from the Wine version list, we'll select GE-Proton as I mentioned before. I am going to use GE-Proton version 20, as that is the latest as of making this video. Enable the advanced options if you want to see more details. Notice that I am able to turn on Fsync. This is because of this Xanmod kernel that we installed earlier. This function does not work on the default ZorinOS kernel. If you don't have RTX graphics card, you can disable NVAPI as this is for enabling DLSS, but it doesn't work on AMD or GTX cards. You can enable FPS counter like MSI Afterburner using MangoHUD. To enable this option, you have to install MangoHUD first. You can leave it if you want. The next step is very important. If you have NVIDIA graphics card with AMD or Intel graphics, make sure you always select NVIDIA proprietary here, or if you want to use AMD, choose AMD and nothing else. Without this, your games might run like a snail. Now let's boot up our game and see if it works. And it does. Great. Another thing, if your games ever run slow, you can enable a sync shader compilation. It sounds fancy, but it's basically a flag that we can enable in case our games are lagging too much. To do that, you have to add DXVK Async as one in the environment variables. DXVK is a software that converts DirectX calls to Vulkan. DirectX is made by Microsoft, and it is proprietary. Linux does not have DirectX, so we convert DirectX into Vulkan, so that our graphics card can run the game. You can tell DXVK to also show FPS in the game. It's pretty cool. Use the DXVK HUD flag to enable the text like MSI Afterburner. DXVK GitHub tells you what flags you can enable. Useful information if you want to have more features. Using our newly added flags, the game now shows FPS counter and more information. Cool, right? I have added some more modern games. Let's try running Guardians of the Galaxy. It has the exact same settings as we did before. It says our Windows version is not 10. No worries, we can easily fix this with Winetricks. Follow me. In Wine settings, set the Windows version to 10, and now we can run our game nicely. Everything works great. So that's about it. If your games don't run, make sure to change the Wine version and game configuration in Lutris. You can use fschack or lutris-ge-6.16 or lutris 7.2 or other versions. Usually GE-Proton should work. In this video, we learn what Wine is, what Winetricks is used for, and what DXVK does, and how to run games using Lutris. One other thing, DXVK is used for DirectX 9, 10 and 11 games. For DirectX 12 games, we use VKB3D. It's similar to DXVK, but only for DirectX 12 games like I'm running here. This video took me a lot of time to make. If you appreciate it, please give a like and maybe subscribe to the channel, no pressure.